And welcome to the regular and executive session of the Yuma County Board of Supervisors. Also seating us all special taxing districts, August 18, 2025, 9 a.m. Board members will attend either in person, by telephone, or remotely via electronic conferencing. And we have Darren, he won't be joining us today, Mr. Simmons. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Supervisor Lance, can you please lead us?
Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What was that?
We okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh. I was thinking of proclamations. If I had to do it.
We'll move on to call to the public. Call to the public is held for public benefit to allow individuals to address issues within the board's jurisdiction. Board members may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to Arizona Revised Statute 38-431.01H, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to criticism, or scheduling the matter for further discussion and decision at a future date. Public comments may be made in person or submitted by email at publiccomments@yumacountyaz.gov. The email forms of public comments will be accepted until 8 a.m. the morning of the meeting. All public comments will be read out loud during the Yuma County Board of Supervisors meeting that starts at 9 a.m. Desiree, do you have any?
We do not.
Oh, thank you. And I have a speaker form for call to the public. Jeff Snow.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Supervisors. My name is Jeff Snow from the Hall Companies, 3064 South Avenue B here in Yuma. On your agenda today, you will be considering the joint land use plan. We attended a number of the meetings in our organization for the joint land use plan. We have prepared 2 documents that we would like you to receive and make part of the official record, including your minutes, as you go forward with this consideration today of the joint land use plan. With your permission, I'd like to give some copies of these documents to the clerk, if that's possible. Thank you. Okay, so we've given these copies to the clerk. We hope you'll consider these copies, read them, and that will conclude my comments for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public that wishes to address the board? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board and move on to presentations, proclamations, and appointment. During this segment of the agenda, board members may discuss the presentations and proclamations and may announce appointments to the Yuma County Planning and Zoning Commission and Yuma County Board of Adjustments.
You don't have any appointments to make, do you?
No.
No.
No appointment.
Josh?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Josh Scott, Deputy County Administrator. Here this morning to give you a update presentation on the county's broadband projects, including our middle mile network and our wireless network infrastructure. Start with the middle mile project. Just to recap, this project entails installing dark fiber throughout the county with the express goal of lowering barriers to entry for service providers to come in and ultimately pass that savings on to residents and businesses. It's a reliable, highly reliable, all underground fiber network. And we have loop pathways where possible to provide some redundancy in the system. And the network is being constructed with bundles of 144 or 288 fibers, but we're also installing an empty conduit next to that, so we have the capacity to pull additional fiber if we need to scale up in the future. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, the goal is to provide access to our residents and businesses for next generation high-speed broadband internet. The map here kind of shows our fiber build out, which the phases, which I'll get into in just a second, but quick look at the project funding. The county put in 18.7 million of its own American Rescue Plan Act funding. We applied for and received a $10 million grant from the Arizona Commerce Authority. And then several board meetings ago, you heard from our CFO and Diana Velosa in grants about some ARPA savings we had in other projects. The board directed that 234,000 go towards broadband as well. And then we are starting to receive some program income from the fiber. We got our first quarterly distribution not too long ago. It was only about 30,000, but keep in mind we're still in construction, and that number is expected to ramp up pretty quick as we complete the network. So the first phase of the project, that took care of the Yuma metro area, all the way from San Luis to Somerton and into the city of Yuma. Consisted of nearly 70 miles of fiber at a cost of about $12.3 million. And you see the system's kind of looped in this part of the county. That's that redundancy I was talking about. So you've got multiple pathways to get from point A to Z. Phase 2, we're at about 92% completion on this one. This one has run fiber all the way out to the foothills, out to Avenue 15E. It also includes extending that network east down Highway 95 and out to County 3rd Street, the Dome Valley turnoff. And then we head east through Dome Valley all the way out to Tacna. We've had we're only at about 92% on this. There's one segment along Highway 95 where we've had some permitting delays. We've had to work with ADOT to ensure that their future widening wouldn't require us to move our facilities and trying to stay out of their way. And then there is a portion of the highway that crosses some federal property, and that required some additional environmental clearances. But we do anticipate having this complete by March of next year, and then we'll close out our ACA grant probably by about June next year.
Scott, before you leave that, when you say 92% complete, are you talking about connecting it? Is that the only thing that's left, or is there miles?
So there's conduit. Most of the conduit is in, with the exception of that segment along Highway 95. A good chunk of the fiber's already been pulled, and the stuff out in the foothills has been tested and is able to be lit. But the stuff down Highway 95, which ultimately connects that.
So even if it's 92 complete, it doesn't mean it can be hooked up at 95. It needs to have that permit and that connection.
Correct, yeah. So the foothills portion is live. It's that piece along Highway 95 out to Dome Valley that we haven't gotten fully permitted yet. So there's a lot of infrastructure that's in. It's just that one segment needs to be complete to be able to light it all the way out to Tacna. And then phase 3, this is on the horizon. I'll be back at the September 3rd board meeting for you to consider approving a change order for ALLO to proceed with this work. This will take care of getting fiber to the rest of the agricultural areas in the county. The red line you see there is our existing fiber from phase 2. The other colored lines there, this red line is what's going in phase 2. These other lines here are what we're calling phase 3. So we'll take it down Laguna Dam Road north from Highway 95 to service the north of the valley. We'll run from Tacna to Roll, and then we'll extend from Roll all the way out to Texas Hill. So that'll take care of all the agricultural areas. That one will add about 30 miles of dark fiber, and right now the cost is projected to be about $5.3 million. So the total amount of fiber with all 3 phases, just shy of 169 miles. So got a lot going in. Jumping over to our wireless infrastructure project. This one, as you're well aware, is to support on-farm operations and particularly ag tech. So ag tech's a broad term, but it includes things like autonomous tractors and drones and everything from soil moisture sensors to automated irrigation gates. And the idea is to bring broadband to the farm to allow them to better manage their operations and their water. The goals for this one are similar to our Middle Mile project. Again, lowering barriers to entry so we can attract a spectrum of providers. I'll show you the tower layout here in just a minute, but we've done it so we've got reliable communication coverage out to the fields. Things like autonomous tractors and drones need constant communication, so trying to maximize the coverage and minimize gaps. And the infrastructure is being designed to accommodate multiple technologies on these towers, with the idea that different frequencies and different providers will be able to provide different services to the farms. And ultimately, this is a water conservation project. The idea, again, to allow the growers to better manage their operations and ultimately conserve water or produce a higher yield with the same amount of water.
That was a great picture. I mean, I didn't even recognize that as a tractor.
Yeah, yeah, it's one of John's.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
They're neat.
Yeah, autonomous.
Autonomous
Uh-huh.
tractor.
The funding for this one, we did receive a $6 million grant from the governor's office. That was part of the state allocation of ARPA funds. And this is a map of the irrigation district. So this is a dedicated ag network. And so we're going to provide coverage to all the irrigation districts within the county. And we're going to, I guess the gist of the project is 50-foot monopoles at 34 locations. And we'll run power and fiber to each tower so that that's available. And this is essentially turnkey for a provider to come in. They just need to put up their antenna and plug in their radios, and they should be ready to go.
That was a question I had from a constituent, is just where the poles were going to go. So, yeah,
Well, there's slight.
there's a
little-
variation, but yeah, basically it's going to
We were
hit all
down to the
the
last 7, and then
Yes, we
we
are.
needed to reconfigure
the others.
for coverage based upon the correct coverage for the individual radios,
Yeah,
because there was a difference between those two. So getting that figured out with the correct and new engineering and being able to proceed.
and we are.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so here's the map that shows the coverage. The blue areas are the strongest signal coverage. Green is still good. Yellow is where we kind of start to fade out. But we have the irrigation districts outlined here, so you can see it's primarily that strong blue and green shading there.
Yeah.
So we've located the towers to serve the ag areas. So you'll see some holes in the system, but they're around the urban areas.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than beam this into
Yeah, the middle
the
of
city.
Yuma, there's no point. Uh-huh.
And Josh and
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, one of the other challenges before is that agricultural land had been surveyed that currently doesn't have water or any usage. So that was modified and brought back into production areas.
Areas that are already being.
Correct.
Yes, instead of the desert. Yeah,
Correct.
got it.
Yeah, and they were also, the original design, they were also hitting some big center pivots that were outside an irrigation district boundary and things like that, so.
Can I get this in color, Josh?
You bet, yes, I will
Thank you.
email that out. So here's just an example of what these might look like. That drawing on the left, that one's from our tower engineer. This is what we're working on finalizing the design of now, but you'll see 3 antennas at the top, space for radios by 3 different providers down here towards the base. Right now, we anticipate the pole being about 14 inches in diameter at the base, so it's a pretty slim design. Not much different than a light pole or a traffic signal pole you might see. And it'll be on a flanged piling. That'll allow us to unbolt it here and replace these. It's inevitable one's going to get hit by a tractor and need to be replaced. So that's another feature we were looking for in the design.
And when technology changes, go ahead.
Well, yeah, and Mr. Chairman, they're easily adaptable to new technology
Yeah.
and the addition of radios, and because it's the broadband with high capabilities, then it's easy to adapt.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
And Josh, if I could just real quick, one of the other things that's kind of monumental about this project is that we were able to establish a new law in Arizona, creating a broadband authority.
Yes, that's right.
And that will be managed by the water districts, who are already a governmental entity. And so we were able to get that through the legislature, which was a monumental undertaking. And we will use it as a model for the rest of the state, acknowledging that you may have to tweak it a little bit here and there.
You know Mr. Palmer up in northern
Yeah.
Arizona? You called him,
Okay.
talked to him about it.
Okay.
He was asking questions. Okay,
yeah, I anticipate the broadband authority will be before you requesting, authorization to do business. I
Deploy
guess.
or, yeah.
Probably early October is what I'm hearing, but.
I think they wanted to do
It's
something.
actually one of the first ones in the nation.
Yeah, and I think the rest of the state is looking at it,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, they were upset. Some of the other counties were upset that they weren't able to create it, but the legislature wanted to see how
It
we
would-
rolled this out. So doing it correctly the first time was a big deal.
Well, come to Yuma, we do it, right?
Yes.
And then the pictures on the right, those are just some examples of similar installations, just to give you an idea of what it might look like out there. We're finalizing the tower design and locations now. As Supervisor Lyons pointed out, we did move a number of these for coverage reasons. And then a few weeks ago, we had a big ground truthing effort. We went out with the contractor, their surveyor, and we visited all 34 sites with irrigation districts on board. And we moved quite a few of these towers, some only 5 or 10 feet, others, 700 feet. But the idea was to avoid conflicts with irrigation infrastructure, to minimize the impacts to the adjacent farming operations, and just some common sense things.
Yeah.
Trying to position these poles closer to power and fiber and things like that.
So you went with the irrigation district and farmers and the company or just the company?
It varied. It was all, it was me with the county. YCETA was there with us. And like I said, the contractor and their surveyor, they were there. And then like with Yuma Irrigation District, we met with Rex Green out there.
Oh, good.
North Gila, we were very hot. So we tried to
Several,
engage
yeah.
with them.
Good.
The permitting effort's ongoing. I suspect we'll see some action in the field probably middle of October. That'll be followed by power, fiber, and then standing up the towers at each one of these sites. And that'll continue into next spring, and the anticipated final completion date, August of next year, so about a year from now. I know you're all aware of the importance of this project, but this would not have happened if we didn't have that middle mile in place, so it's kudos to you all for your vision in that, and it allows some of these other projects that are going to be one of a kind or
One of a kind.
yeah, certainly not to this scale, allows those projects to proceed. That is my update.
Any questions for Josh?
No, thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you.
That was a really good update.
And before I move on to item number 2, and which lead to this segment or the part of the agenda, item number 2, I just go back to call to the public, and I just want to, last meeting, Supervisor Reyes thank and acknowledge all the staff that took part on for the Somerton wastewater or sewer on the Orange Grove Mesa Verde. and I just, I should have followed that up and give kudos to all the staff, but also Rachel. Rachel did, she when we started doing the signatures, she was a big part on helping Somerton and guiding us how to get the signatures for the district. So thank you, Rachel, for that, and to all the staff that helped. So, and bring it back, and item number 2, and we have Assistant Director.
No, Director.
Oh, Director. Now it's Director.
I just hired her.
Oh, okay.
She's the Director.
of External Affairs for the WIFA, Chelsea McGuire. Welcome.
All right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, supervisors, WIFA chairman. My name is Chelsea McGuire. I'm the director of the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority of Arizona, or WIFA, as we are affectionately known. And if you're unfamiliar with us, WIFA is a state agency that, among many other things, serves as the administrator of the EPA's State Revolving Fund programs. So the state revolving funds, you'll hear me call them the SRFs, they're a really good model of utilization of federal funding. So the EPA, the federal agency, provides states with financing to meet a certain policy goal. Here it is clean and drinking water projects and making sure those projects get out into the community. And then we, as a state agency with a lot more intimate knowledge of the state itself and better relationships with our water providers on the ground, can decide where's the best place to deploy those resources. So why am I here? Every year, the EPA looks at the projects that the states have funded, and they accept nominations for outstanding drinking water state revolving fund projects for recognition through what they call their Aquarius Award program. So the Aquarius Award highlights projects that have exceptional success in a variety of areas, including things like community engagement and the development of creative solutions. So I'm really thrilled to announce that this year, one of your very own communities here in Yuma County received an honorable mention through this national, very competitive awards program. This year, WIFA nominated the Yuma County Improvement District for this award for their storage tank project in Tacna. Tacna's water system has 135 connections. It serves 345 people. And in addition to being a designated colonia, Tacna is also a disadvantaged community under WIFA's criteria. They have a median household income of less than 50% of the state's MHI. Our disadvantaged designation is actually less than 90% of the state's MHI, so clearly a very big need there in Tacna. To address something that none of us want to see, arsenic contamination within Tacna's water system, the Yuma County Improvement District applied for a $250,000 loan, which was fully forgivable, so you could call it a grant. We don't, so you don't have to follow federal grant statutes, but basically that's what it was, to install a 150,000-gallon storage tank. The tank is part of a broader new water treatment system and distribution system that will replace their previous facility, which ADEQ actually deemed it was unfeasible to habitate, so not something that you want to see. And in addition to playing a part in the arsenic remediation that was necessary to make that water supply safe for consumption, the new storage tank is also going to reduce cost, it'll improve delivery processes, and it's just going to improve and standardize quality for customers in Tacna. It's a fantastic project. It was completed in February of 2024 and is really a critical piece of remediating this horrible emerging contaminant arsenic from the water system and improving public health. The project itself is impressive enough for that reason, right? Tacna is really being forward-thinking and proactive in making sure their water is safe. But what really stood out to WIFA about this project was the way that the community of Tacna came together to support it. This project would not have been possible but for very motivated members of the community being ready and willing to form the Yuma County Improvement District. Forming this district, which was not easy and took a lot of time and effort, allowed them to pursue funding not only from WIFA, but also from other federal funding sources, things like USDA, from community development block grants, that allowed them to braid together all of the financing necessary to make this project possible without a significant impact on the ratepayers in Tacna. And that, I think, represents exactly what Arizona can be so proud of when it comes to water stewardship, right? Our motivated communities are doing whatever it takes to make sure that our water is safe, that it's reliable, and that it's abundant for future generations.
Chelsea, just on that comment, I attended a meeting out at Antelope, and they filled the auditorium. They were, the community out there was so much behind this. It was nice to see them come together and really make a difference in their community. I'm sorry, go ahead then.
It was a perfect interjection. That's exactly what they did. They came together, they made a difference in their community, and WIFA was really honored to be able to play at least a small role in that difference and to be able to give them the recognition that they deserve for the work that they did. So today I have a certificate of recognition to present. I'm actually representing it. We did have them come down to a WIFA meeting a few months ago to make sure they got their recognition there. But I believe we have with us today Kelly Frick, who is the Superintendent of Streets, Rachel Stallworth, the Improvement District Coordinator, Diana Velos, the Community Planning Administrative Director, and Veronica Garcia, the Senior Grant Administrator. So if you'll allow me, would love to present them with this certificate. And Mr. Chairman, if you want to come down as well.
So Tony wanted to say something?
Okay, Tony.
I just wanted to acknowledge the effort that the supervisor from
Yeah.
that area, because without him.
Oh, yeah, Darren.
He's not here today, so it's kind of like,
That's a good comment.
he's
That's
a
good to
really-
be missing, but.
yeah.
Uh-huh. I hope he's listening.
Could I have a moment, please?
Yes.
I just, the improvement districts and the grants division wanted to make sure that we expressed our sincere gratitude to the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority for their past and current collaboration and their partnership. We appreciate that partnership. We hope it continues for the future. If you'll express that to the board, Jonathan. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
One of those things that we don't recognize Rachel for more. She's
I know.
really experienced that. Can we photobomb this?
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't say I was to go up there. You can't stand up.
Why don't you stand up or come down here?
No, we didn't want to.
Can you Photoshop the thing?
Yeah.
Now you can take a picture for the paper.
One more time.
Here we go.
Al, are you the photographer today? No fingers. Right, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
And there's room for Darren in there somewhere.
Yeah, then we will Photoshop it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
Hey, somebody has a ring in there. Diana. Rachel. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming over.
And congratulations on your position.
Yeah.
Yes.
Condolences on having the same person there. They just got reelected, but it's okay.
And yeah, just following Supervisor Reyes' comments there, thanking again the whole staff, everybody from Grants, Public Works, Rachel, and obviously Mr. Simmons did a great job there. I think we're very fortunate at Yuma County that we have someone from the board that sits on the WIFA board.
Now he's,
And
yeah,
that's-
president of the WIFA board.
Well, I think he still had a lot of pull there before he was. just
Yeah,
the
that's
board.
right, before that, yes, I
No, but-
know.
No, and I think we're very fortunate to have someone there and really, look out for Yuma County. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Yeah, he gave a very compelling need for that.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item number 3, presentation of the mix with Yuma County and El Condado Informado by Yuma 77 and the Yuma County Government Channel.
Welcome to the mix. Yuma County has secured $1.3 million in state funding to replace the 47-year-old Somerton Avenue Bridge over the West Main Canal. The new bridge, slated for construction in spring of 2026, will be designed to meet future traffic needs, including a room for 4 lanes and improved safety features.
When we get the new bridge in, we won't have the detours all the time for fixing the bridge. Plus, as you drive over it, when it's starting to pavement's starting to fall apart. You have potholes and you run into the potholes, and so it'll be much safer and much nicer drive going over the new bridge.
Design work begins soon with a 5 to 6 week detour expected during construction. In observance of Overdose Awareness Month this August, the Yuma County Health District is highlighting the rising overdose crisis, primarily driven by opioids like fentanyl, the leading cause of overdose deaths in Arizona. Naloxone, a life-saving medication that can reverse opioid overdoses, is available without a prescription at pharmacies and local organizations. The Health District encourages residents to learn how to use naloxone and recognize overdose signs.
It's a life-saving medication to individuals that overdose. We understand that not everybody, knows individuals that are struggling with substance use disorder or, know somebody who uses drugs. But that doesn't mean that they can't take action and potentially save a life.
For training or to obtain naloxone, contact the Health District. The Yuma County Sheriff's Office is hiring deputies and detention officers. Applicants must be U.S. citizens at least 21 years old and have a high school diploma or GED. Paper applications aren't accepted. Apply through Yuma County's online portal. The agency also seeks volunteers interested in community service.
So if you are interested in volunteering at the Sheriff's Office, no prior experience is needed, just the want and the calling for serving your community. And you go through the academy, you are trained on different aspects on how you can help the Sheriff's Office. A lot of it entails and really is being like backup for the deputies.
For more information, visit yumacountyaz.gov or contact Human Resources. With Labor Day weekend just around the corner, please remember that most Yuma County government offices will be closed on Monday, September 1st. As a result, the regular Yuma County Board of Supervisors meeting will be held on Wednesday, September 3rd. Be sure to mark your calendar for the rescheduled meeting. Thanks for tuning in. Residents can catch the latest episode of The Mix by visiting yumacountyaz.gov and navigating to the VOD section. You can also head over to the Yuma County's official YouTube channel. English episodes are available under the Mix playlist, while Spanish-speaking viewers can find the Spanish version under El Condado Informado. Both platforms offer access to current and past episodes. ¿Prefiere ver The Mix en español? No se lo pierda, la versión en español del programa está disponible bajo la lista de reproducción del Condado Informado en el canal oficial de YouTube del Condado de Yuma. Gracias por acompañarnos. We'll see you next time.
All right. Moving on to consent calendar. The following items listed under the consent agenda will be considered as a group and acted upon by one motion with no separate discussion unless a board member so requests. In that event, the item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action. And I have items 1 through 11. Anybody?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve items 1 through 11 as presented.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to approve items 1 through 11. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Good to see all of you today.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for coming to the consent items.
Yeah, thanks for coming to the consent.
The consent.
Okay, everybody can go back to work.
Now everybody's leaving again.
I want to acknowledge that the recorder who just left tried to hug me over from Walmart. It's not good.
That's good.
All right.
He tried to hug me. What could I do? A kid around there, but
A plus.
And do we have Marta? No, she's not. We don't, okay. So I'll go ahead and recess the Yuma County Board of Supervisors and convene as the Yuma County Housing Board. Housing Governing Board, consent calendar, the following items listed under the consent agenda will be considered as a group and acted upon by one motion with no separate discussion unless board member so requests. In that event, the item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action. And I have item 1.
Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve as presented.
They had a chance to jump in.
There's a motion and a second to adopt and authorize the chairman to sign resolution number 2025-23. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Before you adjourn, Chairman, I'd like to tell Mr. What's his last name? Roldan? No, you're not Roldan.
Roldan.
Roldan. Chuy Roldan. Is your wife okay?
Doing better.
Better?
And-
Well, I guess you know that all of us are following your experience there, and we wish you the best. Wish you and your family the best.
Good seeing you, Jesus. Okay, I'll go ahead and adjourn the Yuma County Housing Board and reconvene Yuma County Board of Supervisors in regular session. Going on to discussion and action items, the board will open each of the following items separately for discussion and action as appropriate. Item number 1, taxing agencies. We have Humberto.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good morning. I'm Humberto del Castillo, Chief Financial Officer. This morning, I'm asking the board to approve the property tax rates and levy summary report for fiscal year 25-26 as presented. The worksheet is included in your meeting packets. Excuse me.
And before you move on, and just because you're new, I'd like to sort of warn you a little bit. One time we missed a couple of those, and it was very difficult for them to make it up. For them, meaning the city of San Luis or something. So all I want to do is make sure you got their tax rates, all their improvement districts, they send everything that you need.
Rachel's
Yes,
back
sir.
there.
Good.
Yes, just a quick note there, being this a new process, I began the process 3 months ago, 2-3 months ago, and I was reaching out to City of San Luis, Somerton, Welton, all the collaborators, which I want to take a moment to thank them. I was very, I would say, insisting early on the information, a little bit anxious being the first time, but everyone got their information submitted on time, and I would like to thank them for their help and collaboration. So
That's very good, and I'd like to, just say that it's a pleasure to have somebody that can take care of these things without us having to worry about it. But I just wanted to make sure that you knew that there was a problem in the past, and that was it. Some of the cities and towns do not understand that there's a time when this is legislative. We can do it legislatively, which is when they present it to you and you present it to us, and we go through this process. Some of them just don't understand the importance of, and this is one of those counties that has a lot of improvement districts. I mean, more than any other county, I think, in the state.
More than the state combined.
They combine, so this is very important for us. It's part of how we keep it together, how we keep it balanced. So I appreciate the fact that there's something, I think all of us appreciate the fact that something professional handling this, because if it could go wrong, this will be the place.
yes, well, thank you. Following, per Arizona Revised Statute 42-17151, on or before the third Monday in August, Yuma County is required to compile and approve the property tax rates and levies for all taxing authorities on the county to include them in the tax roll. Approval of this report today will bring the county into compliance. Once approved, the report will be transmitted to the Treasurer's Office for inclusion in the tax roll, and also to the Property Tax Oversight Committee at the Arizona Department of Revenue for compliance and review. Another Arizona Revised Statute, 42-17155, requires that counties post the county property tax worksheet on their website. This action today will also satisfy that requirement. This year's property lists a total of 341 taxing authorities, an increase of 6 over the last year. The new taxing authorities include 1 county irrigation district, 4 general and maintenance districts of the city of Yuma, and 1 enhanced municipal district from the city of San Luis. These new districts are highlighted in yellow on pages 4 and 7 of your report. This year, the report includes all the active districts, including the 6 new taxing authorities. Some of the districts are showing a $0 levy, but we have included them intentionally for completeness and transparency. Of the 341 taxing authorities, as the Supervisor Reyes mentioned, the board is directly responsible for only 168. I've highlighted those 168 taxing authorities in green on your report. As an additional reminder, the county adopted the rates and levies for these districts, which the county is responsible for, during their budget process earlier this year. The remaining 173 taxing authorities had their rates and levies adopted by their respective governing bodies. And this is the process previously described where some of the taxing authorities did submit to the county their budget, their levies, and for some of them, we have to collaborate and stay in constant communication for them to submit the information. This included municipalities, school districts, special districts, municipal improvement districts, and everything was submitted on time to the county to inclusion in this tax worksheet document. Our office also coordinated with the county school superintendent, the treasurer, and the assessor to verify all submitted levies were correct. I would like to take a moment to thank the school superintendent, the treasurer, the assessor, and staff on their help and collaboration, since once I completed the worksheet, I sent them out to their offices, and they were able to verify that levies and rates were correct. So in summary, the total levy, primary and secondary for FY26 was $196,623,227. This is a total increase of $9,268,191, or 6.51% when compared to the previous fiscal year. I would also like to emphasize that this does not mean that tax rates went up. Yuma County did not increase its primary or secondary tax rates. They remained the same as last year. The increase comes mainly from valuation growth due to new construction and higher net assessed values, which raised the levy even if the rates remain unchanged. In addition, some taxing authorities adopted their own increases. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this concludes my presentation. I recommend the approval of the FY 25-26 property tax rates and levy summary report, and am happy to answer any questions.
A couple. There's more like a comment. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the fact that being able to form all these districts, it's just, that's one of the good things that we always talk about when Rachel comes aboard. But we do have more than any of the other counties combined. And the problem to me, it seems to be, how do we remove old zero balance? Because we have a lot of old zero balance. So that would be a question that would be answered sometime later in the process. And the second one is, I really do appreciate that dollar bill where it shows exactly what we charge, because we're the messenger of this thing. So any municipality or any area that gets a bill, tax bill, always thinks it's us coming up with these bills, and it's not. If you stop to think about it, it's they themselves have approved their own levies. So when they get to it, like the city of San Luis, I'll use the city of San Luis as an example, they have created 5 or 6 districts that apply to one subdivision. So they have a lighting district, a parks district, so everything, they charge everybody everything for the services, and we ended up, being the messenger of the bad news. And bad news is you got to pay so much, for your tax bill. And basically, when it comes to us, it's a very small percentage of it, maybe 10, 11%. The rest of it is districts that they have approved themselves, either the AWC district or the school district, or something they have approved themselves, or the cities that they belong to, the jurisdictional areas set for them. So I just want to make it clear, we set this by statute, but we don't have much to do with what it is. It's just a choice that these districts make for how much they're going to charge. We're talking about districts right now that are going to be able to make something happen that I thought I wouldn't see during my lifetime. And it's a pleasure to see them happen, but it's also something that we tend to be very lackadaisical about it. I mean, we just do this stuff and then we forget how bad it is when the bill comes in. I mean, I get this from Gaston all the time when they're about to get rid of their sewer district, which was like 25 years ago. So the fact is, I like to do this because it's part of what we do legislatively, but at the same time, I like to make sure that what you said a minute ago remains the most focused thing, which is that we as county do not collect this money for ourselves. We collect this money for the districts. I just want to make that clear. Thank you. And I appreciate the fact that you guys handled that so well.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, go ahead, Liz.
I just want to make a comment to Tony's comment. Those improvement districts were voted on. First, they have to get, the residents have to sign a petition. They have to get 51 plus before they can even take it to a vote. So it was approved, it's approved by the residents in that area for those improvement districts. So,
Sir,
If you wanna complain, complain.
well, it's like El Pueblocito when they went from septic to sewer, and several of my districts have improvement districts in them, so, anyway.
we go through this every year, and we pretty much say the same comments
Every year.
every year. But I think it's educating the public, educating them. They're light districts, retention districts, and there's a lot of them, Lynn, that are not by the set by the
But public.
voters.
Mhm.
It's by developers in the
Mhm.
cities that they come up with the district for retentions, for the lighting.
Yeah.
So, but it's a way for cities to get their money somehow, or as it goes along, or either they get it up front from the voters or from the buyers that buy in those areas, or the developer. But I think we have, even though we have so many, but I think we obviously we do a great job in
Thank you,
handling
Rachel.
that. So yeah, thanks for doing that. And but I really do think it's about educating the public.
Spoken like a true former mayor. And I'm a
I
former mayor.
won't deny it. That's the way you're gonna get ahead.
Create those improvement districts, but cities set.
Well, it prevents all the taxpayers from paying for just one.
For one development,
Little,
it's only within that area.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So-
All I have to say about this, as a former mayor, is that it creates a different set of people in the same city. It creates people who pay improvement districts and get that paid, and it creates people that get it for free. I mean, the older section of San Luis gets everything for free, and the newer section of San Luis gets everything by district. So it creates a double standard that I personally think it's okay. I mean, it's the new wave that people should pay for what they create, the need they create. But it essentially creates a situation where cities have to make decisions based upon the need of certain areas, and just the need of certain areas, not the need of the whole community. Because in San Luis, Arizona, I can tell you, I drive streets. I live in the older section of town, so I don't have as heavy burden of taxes as people who live in the newer section of town, where the city requires you to create improvement districts so they can assess people for the services they give. It's kind of difficult when it comes to let's say, a property tax district, because it creates a situation where you pay a property tax on one side, and you pay a property tax and your districts on the other side. So it creates a very imbalanced situation for cities that are old enough to be built before the assertion of so many improvement districts. So you do a great job, and that's what we need to do here. And we need to focus on the fact that we only get the numbers from this is an educational process. So we educate people. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second the motion and get it over with.
There's a motion and a second to approve the item as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Notice it's a bipartisan motion. Made by both Republicans and Democrats.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Humberto.
Thank you, bud.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
Moving on to legislative issues. Alejandro.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Alejandro Figueroa, Economic Development and Intergovernmental Affairs for Yuma County. Start off with the JLBC's July 2025 fiscal report. As you know, JLBC, the Joint Legislative Budget Committee, issues monthly reports on Arizona's general fund revenues and fiscal issues. The July report closes out fiscal year 2025 and provides a good snapshot of where the state stands financially. So overall revenues came in $217 million higher than budget projections, which is a positive outcome. In terms of tax performance, individual income tax and insurance premium tax both grew strongly at about 13%. Corporate income tax was flat, showing no growth. Sales tax growth slowed considerably. marking the weakest pace since fiscal year 2011. Non-tax revenues. A key driver of the surplus was unclaimed property proceeds, which grew from $211 million last year to a record $331 million this year. So through some of the considerations on the surplus is the true budget impact will depend on final spending data, which won't be available for several months. Much of the revenue gain is from non-tax sources, which is a trend that we saw also in fiscal year 2024. The budget assumed nearly $187 million in federal Medicaid reimbursements, which have not been received but still counted in projections. And finally, there remains significant uncertainty around federal policy decisions sorry, on budget, tax, and trade, which could change the outlook going forward. Moving on, the Arizona Corporation Commission voted to begin repealing the Renewable Energy Standard and Tariff rules, also known as the REST rules. These rules, in place since 2006, require utilities to secure 50% of their energy from renewable sources. Some commissioners argue that these rules are no longer needed because utilities have already set their own clean energy goals, in some cases higher than the REST requirements. The vote is controversial because it comes immediately after APS rolled back its clean energy commitments, including its 45% renewable target by 2030. This marks a significant shift in Arizona's regulatory approach to renewable energy, with potential long-term implications for consumers, utilities, and environmental policy. Arizona is facing a projected $430 million reduction in Medicaid spending starting in July 2026. This is driven by federal changes in the One Big Beautiful Bill. While the federal government will realize most of the savings, Arizona's general fund will only see about $50 million in reduced spending. The most affected group will be the Medicaid expansion population, around 451,000 Arizonans, with 90% of their costs currently federally funded. Enrollment is expected to drop by 171,000 people by 2030 due to these changes. For the legislature, the biggest concern is how to adjust to the loss of hospital assessment tax authority.
Can you elaborate on that, please?
Mm-hmm. The Medicaid one?
Just at the last one, the reduced hospital assessment tax authority.
My understanding, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman Lyons, my understanding is the fact that a lot of people will not be requiring services from hospitals given the lack of Medicaid. The hospital will receive less taxes, but I can definitely look into that, or funding from the federal government. I can look into that and get back to you with more details on it. But that was the report that I got from our lobbying firm, and yeah, I can definitely look into it.
Yeah, if we could do a deeper dive on that, just to understand that taxing authority, just because we've had lots of challenges surrounding
Absolutely.
that environment here in Yuma.
Just a note on that. One of the things that was kind of like the same question that was asked at the NACO conference on one of the sessions, and the way they responded was that people that will need services from the hospital with no Medicare and no insurance, then they still have to get attended or seen.
Right.
So that will also increase
the demand on
the
the hospital.
demand on hospital, but also who's going to pay for it.
Okay.
So
Funding source
Funding
really
source.
is a consideration.
Yeah.
All right.
I will get back to the board on that one.
Thank you.
Perfect. So I'll jump on to the last thing in the state. Representative Justin Wilmot is advancing a proposal to constitutionally enforce a 100-day limit on legislative sessions. Currently, the Arizona Constitution sets this goal, but the legislature routinely exceeds it, as you know. The idea is modeled on states like Florida, where the deadline is an absolute requirement. At the same time, Senator John Kavanaugh is reviving SCR 1003, which would tie legislative salaries to inflation. This would raise pay from the current $24,000 to around $47,000.
Oh, they
This-
desperately need it, sorry.
These two proposals are linked. Legislators argue that long, drawn-out sessions have turned a part-time job into a full-time commitment, and both structural and compensation changes are being considered. Taken together, these efforts reflect on an ongoing debate about modernization, professionalization of Arizona's legislature. I apologize for that.
We probably need to make them full-time instead of part-time.
Yeah, they're proposing to do it a real part-time and cut it at 100 days in April. We'll see what happens with that. At the federal level, the Senate is discussing fiscal year, or actually already approved the fiscal year 2026 Agriculture and Rural Development Appropriations Bill that has some direct relevance to Yuma County's agriculture, rural infrastructure, food security, education, and public health priorities. I'd just like to emphasize a few of those points on the screen. $27.3 million investment in farm worker housing improvements, $443.8 million for rural water and wastewater system upgrades, $35 million for critical home repairs, supporting low-income and elderly populations, full funding of WIC and SNAP, monthly USDA food boxes funded by the federal government, and investment in transport and storage infrastructure for food banks is also significant. The bill includes $60 million to expand agricultural education at Hispanic service institutions such as Arizona Western College. And the funding also, it is the funding direction for Colorado River Drought Contingency Plan implementation, including irrigation upgrades, is also critically important for Yuma County agriculture. So the bill is now going to the House and potentially discussed and voted upon before going to the president's, heading to the president's desks. That will conclude my presentation to the board. Mr. Chair, members of the board. And on Mexico, I know Supervisor Reyes will probably ask me about it. The one thing I can share with the board is that the mayor of Nogales, Sonora, Mexico, had his visa revoked. And the husband of Mexicali's mayor also got his visa revoked.
Or what, their visas
Yeah.
revoked?
Yeah. So they're not allowed to come into the U.S. for the time being.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with it if they explain why, but they don't. It's a pretty privately, it's a decision that somebody in the parties or Homeland Security people make, that they don't have to explain, they don't have to say anything, they just revoke the visa.
It's happening here
So they
too,
allow you to
big time.
speculate, they allow you to speculate about what it is. It could be something simple, it could be something different. Could be they have no use for anybody.
But it's happening right here in Yuma. I mean, visas being revoked. I mean, you don't hear about it, but it's happening. I can speak to 2 people that have had their visas revoked and can't leave Mexico or come into the United States legally. So if I have to, how many of you have people you know that, you multiply that by 10 and 10, that's a lot of people. So anyway,
There's always a reason, and it's,
okay.
I mean, it's happening, but yeah. Any other questions for Alejandro?
And
These were kids.
I would just point out that it's generally under the recommendation of the State Department.
Which again, doesn't have to explain why.
No, but I mean, how many people are denied the Sentry? And
I know.
You personally call and they won't let you, they won't tell you. I mean, but obviously if you wanted them to put it out there, I mean,
I'm not going anytime soon.
I think that's a personal decision. I mean, but yeah.
I still will. It still kind of makes you wonder why. And that's the problem right there, wondering why. If you say it's because the person is connected to a cartel, which is normally what they give you. So if your brother or sister or uncle or thing is connected to a cartel, you're doomed. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you do it or not. It's just a matter of knowledge. It's a matter of openness and clarity. I don't think it's a matter of making it, it's like,
50% of, yeah.
I agree with
50%.
President Trump on the fact that most criminals should be removed from this country. But the way it's being done is not something that, we can talk about. But, we don't get in, we don't want to get into it.
No. we
Thank you
don't.
very much for your explanation.
Thank you, Alejandro.
Minda would stop you anyways.
Yeah, Linda would stop us on.
Thank you, Alejandro. Should we move to the work session and skip the?
Keep the report.
Skip the current
Current
events.
events and then.
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll move on to work session, discussion and action item. The board will discuss and may take action on the following items as appropriate. Item number one, we'll do the Development Services Planning and Zoning Division briefing concerning the
Rachel.
2025 Joint Land Use Plan 2025. Maggie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maggie Castro, Planning and Zoning Director. So this item, I was asked by the chairman the county administrator to put it on the agenda. Alyssa Linville from the city of Yuma is here. She is going to do the majority of the presentation for this item since she's spearheading this on behalf of the city and the grant that was obtained, and then also doing the coordination with the committee meetings.
Hi.
Good morning, Chairman and board members. Alyssa Linville, the Director of Community Development with the City of Yuma. As Maggie mentioned, I am the project manager on this effort. So the intent of this is to update the 1996 and 2005 Joint Land Use Plan. As you're probably aware, the Joint Land Use Plan provides direction in terms of development to make sure that we are in line and meeting the needs of both our community, but also making sure that we're not in conflict with the operations of Marine Corps Air Station, which is extremely important to the environment of our community. So that is really what this effort is for. MCIS, the needs of their operations have changed and the needs of our community have changed as well. So we wanted to update the Joint Land Use Plan to make sure that we are meeting the needs of the growth of our community. So that's really what this effort was about. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Well, Alyssa, I've had several people reach out, including MCS Yuma, expressing concerns with the rollout and kind of their concern. I know we have a representative of MCS Yuma here today, but also from several constituents. So interested to hear it. Don't know if we're prepared to take any action or. But I've got real serious concerns, maybe about, well, I don't know. Just about
a little bit about the rollout, if you'd like.
Sure.
So, MCIS Yuma and the City of Yuma have talked about this for several years, and I was encouraged by MCIS Yuma to apply for a grant by the Office of Local Defense Community Cooperation to update this plan, which is what was done. And the City of Yuma was awarded that grant in 2024. So we kicked this off in 2024. We've been working on this for many, many months. We created a work, yes.
Has there been some tug of war between certain parcels, the acceptance of those, and the ability to come to a cohesive agreement on how to move forward?
I would say that that is an accurate assessment. We created a working group and a steering committee. The steering committee made up of local representatives from our local government. So Yuma County has representation, the City of Somerton, the City of Yuma, as well as administration from each of those jurisdictions are members of that committee. And we also have the working group, which is members of our local development community. They're all speaking and they're having their voices heard. And we've been meeting again on a regular basis with them. And there has been some tugging and pulling to determine which opportunities are best for the growth of our community.
Those are probably the same people that are reaching out.
Probably, and we really need to find that happy medium. This really all came as a result of the 2019 ACU study, if you guys are familiar with that, and the recommendations that came out of that ACU study in terms of adding development restrictions on the north-south and east-west runways, which would have significantly impacted the development opportunities within our community.
So again, that is why MCS Yuma and the city applied for that grant in hopes that we could hire a consultant to identify what the best path was moving forward.
May I make a comment? Look, Yuma County has about 90% of land that is either owned by the federal government, the state government, or the local government. So that makes it maybe 9, 10, 11, maybe 11%, 10 or 11% are owned by private property owners who complain all the time that we're over-regulated. And especially because of the encroachment on the bases. Because a lot of this private land is around the base landing strips. So anytime you move that, it creates a ripple effect because there's so few people that are actually involved in the process or actually impacted by the process. Those people that are impacted by the process obviously want to turn their land into usable housing land, and all these regulations by us on the joint land use plan, for example, creating those zones that you can, or noise zones, and all that's what you're referring to.
Yes.
Actually creating barriers for them to turn their land that it's now mostly in agriculture into usable moderately income land. And that's really where I think a lot of the tension comes from. It comes from the fact that, I mean, the government has a lot to do with what we do here, and we're like a county that's really likes to think of itself as independent. You can't be too independent about land use when 90% of your land you don't have control of. I can understand the frustration as a developer of seeing that particular situation happen. And I can understand the Marine Corps Air Station saying, look, if you don't restrict the growth around those landing strips, to something that we can live with, we're not going to live with you guys. So it's kind of a hard and tough choice that you have to make between the needs and desires of the military and the needs and desires of the development community, because right now there's pressure on both sides. There's pressure on the sides of the developers who wants to develop housing and see that the increase in cost of land is driven a lot by the lack of it, the lack of inventory. So anytime you want to buy land, it becomes a difficult thing to do because it's either in the 1 mile zone, buffer zone, or it's either, I mean, a lot of it, it's just so close to the range that we as a unit of government look at government as something that needs to be, or a Marine Corps Air Station as something that needs to be protected because of its impact on the community. It's economic impact in the community. But the developer is thinking, okay, how can I build affordable housing if the startup price of land is so high, which is in some ways the truth. But it's difficult the way you're trying to do this. And I'm sorry that you got caught in the middle of this because I've been around long enough to know when that joint land use plan was used as a sample of what communities could do or should do. I mean, I understand the value of it. It's just, people need to know what they're facing before they face it. And I think developers have a right to scream, but at the same time, we as government entities have an obligation to try to protect what's best for the community. So it's kind of really a catch-22 situation. No matter what you do, you're not going to please everyone. So congratulations on your new job. Hope you get that grant and you drag it on for some time, but it's not going to change it. I mean, the guy that was here from Ohio left as a listing of
And
stuff.
that'll be recorded.
And it'll be recorded, but it's about the same thing. It's about the fact. And I get asked that. Unfortunately, when Yuma is mentioned, it's mentioned on immigration status, it's mentioned a lot of stuff, but it's not mentioned on the fact that we're one of the most progressive counties in terms of agriculture. We're one of the most progressive counties. We haven't had a failed budget yet that I can remember of. We have the chairman of the WIFA board with us. We have the president of the CSA board with us. We have a good golfer with us. Former mayor. So we've got a good mix of people here.
And we have
It's just
Tom.
that-
Oh, yeah.
Good golfer. That's a good former mayor.
We have Tony.
We have
for
20 years of
20
experience, huh?
It's kind of difficult. There's no more difficult position to be in a developer when this happens because it's a joint land use plan that actually tries to determine what's going to happen to that 10% of private land that's available. And the 10% always has a problem with any type of development, rules and regulations. I particularly have a problem with the city of San Luis thinking there's like Scottsdale or Avondale or Hawkeye or even Yuma, because Yuma is sophisticated enough that I don't think it's rural in nature anymore. It's expanded. Yeah, it's rural in nature in some areas, but it's not rural in nation in terms of the number of people that there is. So whatever we can do to help you, take it
Thank
with a grain of salt, but whatever we can do to help, it will help, but we have to wait those factors.
And
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, I think we're, I mean, I asked you how, Ian, we wanted to hear at least a report of what's going on so that the whole board is informed. But, you know, I understand, you know, kind of some of the comments that Mr. Reyes said. We have agriculture, we have the military, the base.
And we have tourism. Those are our
Well,
three
but
bases.
the tourism just comes here and visits, but.
I know.
But I honestly think that we definitely need to work together, especially with the base. But also, I wouldn't want to see the base just, you know, saying, you can't build here and you're not going to build here. Because that's when it gets like how it is right now. That we're getting asked so many questions, because on the other side, we have the agriculture that brings in a lot more money. I think agriculture brings more money than the base.
Yes, they are. They
But the
do.
base, it is important. So we're not gonna have some landowners that are gonna give up their land, because if they give up the land for development, then there goes our growth here. I mean, our agriculture.
Our
And What
agriculture.
else? What else are we gonna be if we're not bringing in manufacturing? And because of the ag and the base, I think a lot of manufacturing kind of skips us. And it's true, we're landlocked. But if we don't come to a medium and say, let's work, you know, give a little, then we're always gonna be on the same boat.
Mr.
I
Chairman?
don't care what anybody else says, but it's always gonna be the same. We're not gonna be able to bring in more manufacturing here. And if we give up agriculture, then we're
nothing.
nothing.
There is lots of land on the other side of Telegraph Pass that's, and, huh? And, well, it needs infrastructure, but at the same time, that is an area where residential could be developed. And people are so, it's just like it took forever for San Luis to grow because it's 20 minutes or 30 minutes from Yuma. Well, guess what? Welton is 20 or 30 minutes from Yuma too, and that area can be developed because we have water. And to me, protecting the military base and making it so it doesn't end up like Luke, where they have limited takeoff and landings because they're landlocked, and so many, I mean, they're encroached on, and so many residents have been complaining. To me, protecting the military bases is part of our freedom. I mean, you have no idea how many F-35 trainings go on out there at MCAS. All the people, the reason we have so many hotels in this town is because of all the trainings that go on at YPG and MCAS, and the people who come and stay there, military folks that come and stay. So ag is number one, I agree. Military is number two, and we need to protect it. And if people are willing to move some other place besides Yuma proper, there is plenty, Somerton has put in 6 new subdivisions. I can't tell you how many San Luis has, but it's grown to nearly 45,000. And we just approved, on the north side of the foothills, we just approved 350 homes over there that, because of sewer issues, only 20 of them can be developed at this time because we don't have the infrastructure. So I'm sorry, but
No, I'm just saying, I'm
basis,
not saying that we don't need to protect it, you know, we
the basis
do.
yeah.
But let me,
There's plenty of land for developers.
There is,
So-
but I think sometimes encroachment works both ways. You know, it's obviously from developers, but also from the base. Somerton can't even build
On a certain
On
area.
a certain area.
Yeah.
That's 20 years ago. That happened, or over 20 years ago. Just because we didn't have a plan back then. If we would have had a plan, general plan, all the way to the Mesa,
They would have been
they
fine.
could have built. So that's the way it goes. I think it goes both ways.
Yes, I
mean,
know.
From the runway to Somerton, it's about 2 or 3 miles.
Yes.
Maybe even more. And you can't build on the east side of Somerton.
I have a friend who lives off of County 14th, and she had part of a plane in her backyard, and they put a moratorium on that area. Hello, there's a reason, so.
That's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying,
you
you know.
need to look at both sides.
Both sides, and working and finding a middle ground and making everybody happy.
Yeah, so this effort, it does include developers, local representatives from the jurisdictions, but also folks from the agricultural community are members of this working group. We've been, again, working on this for many, many months. We've put together a draft document that's been provided to the working group and the steering committee, and we're hopefully going to hear from MCS Yuma on any further recommendations that they would like to see, but we are trying to find that happy medium.
When did you, Alyssa, when did you put out that draft document?
Earlier probably April, earlier
Okay.
this summer.
Most, all of the comments that I've received have been in the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
But I think that the fact that you mentioned the plan as a collaborative initiative developed between the military installation and surrounding jurisdictions. Well, if you mean developers, but it's not a jurisdiction. It's like a.
That's Somerton, Yuma, and the county.
That's what I'm
San
saying.
Luis is not affected by the.
I know. I don't get that crap. But what I'm saying is the way you mention it is between the military and surrounding entities, and it isn't. It's between the military and surrounding.
It is, and we have working groups and steering committees that have representation from all aspects of our community, not just local government, but the
Well, that's what I mean. when I'm saying
developers,
most of the complaints
agriculture.
you get is from people who think they're not in a jurisdiction, they're in the county. We're the jurisdiction.
No, most of the complaints that I got, well, I've got 2 phone calls from MCAS, and then the rest of the calls were from developers.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that are around
That's
the edge.
the working group.
Yeah.
That are
The
probably part of the
developers are-
working group.
But they're not mentioned.
And so even the jurisdictions are put in a very difficult position. In the event that somebody loses the rights to their property, they can no longer develop. That puts us on a potential hook for a takings claim, which the city of Yuma has been involved in recently. So that's something, again, that we're trying to balance for all
And I
jurisdictions
like to commend the
involved.
city of Yuma for all their efforts.
What do you
they're
mean
making to
taking
make sure
claim? You've had to
affordability-
do eminent domain on it?
No, the city of Yuma was involved in the lawsuit on a potential, a claim that was made that the city of Yuma had taken the use of a property away.
Okay.
So that is something that jurisdictions could be faced with in the event that restrictions are added.
Mm-hmm.
From the military.
Every time you turn around, there's one.
But we have listened to the development community, and we've provided all of those comments to the consultant and the working group and the steering committee. We've all considered those, and they've been incorporated into the document as much as possible. Again, it's a give and take on both sides. MCAS Yuma is currently reviewing that draft document, and we're hoping again to hear their comments soon in the near future.
I'd like to hear from MCAS while we're here.
Oh,
They're right there.
yeah, I was provided by a map.
Mm-hmm.
Can we hear from them?
I'd love to hear from them.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I'll be quick without getting too much into detail, but Antonio Martinez, Marine Corps Air Station Yuma. So yes, we actually looking right now into finding that middle ground. I mean, right now for the last, I'll say almost a year, we're working on this, and like some of the stuff that we actually somewhat given up is the noise zones for aux2. We were recommending to get that removed because we haven't had like too much operations on that. Also the paddle, we call them the paddle zones, that is outside the actual noise zones that affect Somerton. We were actually recommending getting those removed. So we are actually given, working on the compromise. Right now, we're just reviewing the latest draft to ensure also that we have to protect the base. Kind of like Ms. Pancrasi mentioned, is we also got to look at the evolution of the air station and how right now is the #1 in aviation for the Marine Corps, and is the fourth for the Navy because we have the range. The BMGR is the breadwinner for aviation, and not only for the Marine Corps, but also other services and other nations that come here and train.
We also
And
have the Chocolate Mountains.
we have the Chocolate Mountains for the Navy SEALs and other trainings. We call them DFTs, deployed for trainings. So that actually creates a larger opportunity for service members to actually do trainings that cannot be done anywhere else. So that is the importance of the air station here, since, I mean, it's been here for the last 70 plus years on the same location. So we understand we're the number 2 economic develop here for the area, along with YPG. So we bring, I guess the latest number was like $1 billion. And like you said, we're not close to agriculture, but agriculture is actually a use that actually is compatible with us as well. And the noise zones is only for residential. I just want to bring that up. Industrial, you've seen it around the base. We have a lot of types for industrial, and we welcome it. So, but just to let you know, so we are working on the draft along with all our internal stakeholders and obviously our commanding officer.
Can I make one comment? This is just a comment. Out on the Barry Goldwater gun range are 2 mock ships, one facing north and south, one facing east and west. And those F-35s do nighttime landings on those out in the middle of the darkness on the Barry Goldwater gun range. Those are things that need to be protected. Those are things that our country needs to have in case our military is called for active or, I don't know.
They need to be able to train there.
They need to be able to train there, and they need to be able to, we need to protect the base so that those F-35s are here and we can utilize it, the base to its maximum capacity.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you'll be amazed how the landing zone is just looking at it from the pilot's perspective, how familiar they are with those landing, because they are actually made to look like an actual aircraft carrier. So they have like hands-on training once they actually get deployed. They know exactly how to do their operations.
And then during Iraq and Iran, there's a village out there on YPG that is a simulation of just that people came and trained at to be able to do combat within those small confines of a city. And I was out there and they're doing unmanned vehicles all over, and they had the section that we got to see, and then they had another section that was tented that we couldn't see. So some of the, I mean, the stuff that. No, I've been there. I was there. But that's what I'm trying to tell the public, that there is a lot going on on our military bases that people need to understand that.
You know, you should be our ambassador to the complainers. The ones that complain about the noise.
They don't complain to me. I just tell them.
They complain to the base. They complain to the base.
I'm the one who actually gets the noise complaints on the installation.
Mesa del Sol, I mean, the foothills, those homes that are right along County 14, those planes come in, they go right down, and then they go and like this. And those people complain all the time, probably, but they chose to go there.
Restricted air use airspace. So they sign a paper saying, hey, you're in this area. But I mean, that doesn't matter once they receive a noise complaint. They're still going to call me, and some of them yell at me for a little bit.
Tell them it's a sign of freedom.
Yeah.
That's what they tell them when they complain.
I've got a question for both of you. Are we at some sort of an impasse regarding exchange of land, regarding the restricted access and the spaceport, Alyssa? Is there something there?
The spaceport is inside the city of Yuma's property.
Yeah, those are
You
different
need to acknowledge.
projects.
Sorry, go ahead.
The landfill right next.
Oh, for the spaceport, that's a different project besides the
But it's not part of, it's not holding up any part of this process?
No.
Okay.
No, that's a completely different project.
Access
R-
or the ability to fly, nothing is, okay.
No, right now so one of our tasks was to actually take a look at the different access we go into the range, see if any of that has an impact or how. So I had to go back so many years, look at the different noise complaints, gather some data and see how that affected versus. So we are currently working on a lot of different subjects. I say we're still willing. I just want to stand here in front of you and just show you that we are willing to compromise because it's on that big document. If you read that draft, and we're hoping we can actually, come into an agreement.
And so am I.
Any more
Before
questions?
the end of the year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well.
Does Alyssa get closing arguments?
I don't know about closing arguments, but thank you for having me today just to give you kind of an update. If there are any follow-up questions that you have, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. We are hoping to get final comments from MCAS soon so that we can get that draft document finalized and presented to the local jurisdictions in November.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right.
Well, I'd like to say one thing at the end. This is just a plan. I mean, it's supposed to kind of give you an idea of what we'd like to see, but it isn't written on stone. It can be changed, it can be modified along the way. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that we're working on providing guidance, not in saying this is stone, this is written in stone, and this is what you're going to get. But people, I find that is probably one of the most critical elements of development. Finding out what you can do and what you can't do really quick before you get going. And this is providing that kind of guidance. So I just
Do we have a
appreciate
copy of
it.
that draft?
I think we do.
Maggie, could you email us each of us a new copy of that draft?
I think.
I'm sure we got it.
Yeah, I believe it was distributed, like Alyssa said, in April, but I can get a
Bump it to the
copy of
top.
that and send it to
Can
you.
you, yeah, so that we can pump it back, yeah, we can see it again.
What?
I remember getting it, but
We have a draft document. We've been hoping to get the comments received from everybody from the steering group and the working committee before we made it public. That's kind of where we're waiting for the comments from MCS Yuma to finalize what that draft
Well,
document
since I'm
looks
being
like.
contacted right now, I would like to see it.
Okay.
yeah, I got it in April, but I.
Yeah, you've received copies of it and the chairman has received copies.
Yeah, I agree with Alyssa. Just to make that understand that it's a working document and things are going to change in there. So.
But we can provide you the
I've
draft.
spent a lot of time in the last 2 weeks to it, so.
A lot of
Okay.
phone calls.
Bump it up to the top.
Yeah, huh.
Yeah.
And make sure there's
A lot of phone
Yes.
calls and texts, yeah.
Thank you.
And not to be released, obviously, at this point.
Correct.
All right.
Just put for your eyes only.
Mm-hmm.
Not just.
Can I ask everybody to leave?
I'll go ahead and recess the regular session and convene an executive session. Is there a,
Well, the administrators conference room, or we'll see here?
we'll go to the top, yeah, because it's,
Well, they don't
Is there a-
contact me because they realize.
is there a vote?
I'll make a motion, we recess the work session and
Yeah.
exit session. You could,
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second to go into executive session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
All right.
thank you.
of the golf course.
What's your handicap,
Me?
Martin?
17.
I got like a 40.
Uh-huh.
I don't even have one.
I don't either.
What does that mean? It means, I don't know.
In fact, there's a,
First time playing.
Yeah.
there's a
Okay.
young lady that,
Let's go ahead
at
and,
Gila Ridge that plays with
reconvene
my,
back to
has
the
my
regular session.
left-handed clubs.
Okay.
And,
Al, are you ready for us?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So the motion should be.
That I don't?
Look, I'm a settlement kind of guy, but I will go ahead and say, I make the motion to authorize and approve the engagement of Sage Associates as consultants for Yuma County Flood Control District in the case of City of Yuma versus Yuma County Flood Control District. The notice of claim from Meridian Engineering Company are related legal matters in the Smucker Park Detention Basin project. And authorize the flood control district manager or the designee to sign the engagement letter with Sage Associates.
I'll second it. Are you ready?
And I'll, yes.
I'll never be ready for
Okay.
that. Gotta go move it forward. Gotta settle it sometime.
Okay, there's a motion. Any second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Any immediate or like that we need to
No.
Couple questions, I have a couple of questions.
Let's just go.
All right.
Let's
Yeah.
just be done.
Yep. First, you
Oh.
guys are, the last report that you gave us talked a little bit about the completion time for the building next door and when we'll have the first meeting. Would you go through that again a little bit?
Is it on the agenda, Minda? Can we do that?
Oh, it's just a question, isn't it?
Well, he's gonna
No, we're not gonna
report
discuss
us
it.
or
It's a
for
report.
events of calendar. We'll just let Ian speak, whatever.
I'll do my best to stay on track.
What-
Minda.
So, Mr. Chairman, for the record, you're going back to the current events item.
Current events,
All right,
yeah.
Going back to corner.
Yeah, we just skip on ours, but just,
We want to hear from Ian.
just from Ian.
Yeah, I had another question, but, and it's also just a question.
Mr. Chairman and Supervisor Reyes, yeah, the building is scheduled to meet its deadline of substantial completion on August 26th. They're sprinting to the finish, all hands on deck. They're working 7 days a week. There's been some hurdles and things popping up here and there, but Clinton Harrington, president of Pilkington Construction, maintains that they are on target to meet that schedule. Once they do, and we get that temporary certificate of occupancy, we can begin our phased move-in process immediately, which goes through September and October, with then elections going in late November and the final one being public fiduciary in December. So it's moving along. We're on track. I will say that we are tentatively, and I underline tentatively, shooting for a ribbon cutting on October 6th. So we will finalize that and get the invitations out when we get that known for sure. I think that's about it. And I'll hand it back to you.
Next question
Mr.
on
Chairman.
events that happen. Do we have a date yet for the budget override? Do we have to have a budget override election? We talked about it a couple of years ago. I said that once we got past a certain time.
Expenditure
Expenditure
limitation.
limitation budget.
There was some discussion about that the other day, and that one is slated for 26 or 28? 26. So we're looking at fall of 26 for that.
Looking at a general election thing.
Because
It
we
has
were,
to
we were
be
well.
an even number year in a general election, yes, sir.
But that's all I need. More or less.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.